are you sure you're being honest with yourself when you say you have the mental and physical capacity to serve another 4 years?
Yes, I am, because, George, the last thing I want to do is not be able to meet that. I think, as some of the senior economists and senior foreign policy specialists say, if I stop now, I'd go down in history as a pretty successful president. No one thought I could get done what we got done.
That was President Joe Biden in a very high-stakes primetime network interview with ABC News' George Stephanopoulos that has intensified speculation over whether the 46th president of the United States will stay in the race. We're going to bring back in NewsNation political editor and host of The Hill Sunday, Chris Stirewalt, Washington correspondent Kelly Meyer, Washington, D.C. correspondent Joe Khalil, and host of The Hill and chief Washington correspondent Blake Burman. Great to have everybody back here. Blake, I'll start with you. I thought that part was really interesting because towards the beginning of the interview, Stephanopoulos was really pressing President Biden on his ability to lead for the next 4 years. Does he have the competence to lead? And what the president kept doing was touting his record and talking about his accomplishments. What did you make of that?
Look, for President Biden, he can, in a normal, and I use the word normal, right, because the last election we had was COVID, which was anything but normal. But let's just roll with that. In a normal election, the incumbent defending their record versus the challenger telling them how awful their record is, right, is normally what you get. This one is obviously unique in the sense that you have two former presidents. Donald Trump has his own record. Joe Biden has his current record, right? So normally you would talk about your record. I did this and this and this and that. And are you better off 4 years ago than you are today? Yes, of course you are. Right. That's traditionally what you hear, some form of that. And that soundbite would play ordinarily or normally. But obviously, Jesse, this is so unprecedented where now even, you know, issues number 1, 2, and 3 of the economy, border, and abortion have completely been pushed down to whether or not the American public believes that the president can serve and is fit to serve. And, you know, in the most recent polls, that number is somewhere between the low 70s up to I believe the Wall Street Journal poll. It was somewhere around 80%. And you know how hard it is, Jesse, to get 3/4 of this country to agree on anything. Right? Like, do you like candy? I bet you there's probably 20% of the country out there who would say no. And that's the challenge for the president right now. So he can talk about his record all he wants, and he can try to make the case all he wants. And look, I put this to one of the sitting congressmen on the Hill the other day. When you actually look at where the country is right now, not only is 3/4 say he's too old, but 2/3 say he hasn't done a good job. His approval rating is at around 1/3. And so that's the challenge for the president. Yes, he would like to talk about his last or current to last 3.5 years. And yes, he would like to make the case that you're better off now than you were 4 years ago. But the polls that show America doesn't feel that way. And even with all of that, obviously, this issue about whether he is fit to serve is now issue number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, I think, before you even get to any of the other stuff.
Yeah, and look, you could say, was that a way to not answer the question? But I think you highlighted it really well, is that whatever was discussed during the debate, or whatever his record was, even the fact that Donald Trump didn't answer a number of the questions he was asked in that debate, it was still overshadowed by the fact of Biden's lapses or Biden's freeze points. And that's really what the concern is there.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your cable provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.